morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you happen to be listening. I am excited. There's a lot of firsts going on in this interview right now. So first of all, this is my first face-to-face interview. We are in the same room.
Yes, we are.
Now, and I probably have known my guest longer than any of my other guests, which is super exciting. So this is my friend and fellow insurance nerd. I'm going to call you an insurance nerd, but we'll get into what you actually do. So this is Alyssa Hrubes. We worked together for years and years at TRICOR Insurance. She's actually in safety consulting. So she's insurance adjacent, but critical to the insurance ecosystem. So she agreed to come on the show. This is her first podcast interview, though she is a podcast listener. So she's had a lot of training. So she's well prepared for today. So how are you doing?
I'm good.
Are you nervous?
Well, I was really nervous, but I feel okay now.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So you can just call her Alyssa. We established before the call that I did not know her last name for the entire time that we've known each other.
Well, how to say it exactly correctly.
Pronunciation.
It's a really hard one. There's a silent H. I mean, I've never had anyone get it right ever. Rubish. Schmidt is tough too. Is it?
So this is exciting. This is going to be interesting because we know each other super well, but I'm hoping that I learn new stuff about you today.
Well, on my way over here, I was thinking, I'm going to answer these questions and you do know me so well. And I'm going to be interested to see if you think I would have said something else.
We'll do a little, what do they call it? Like fact check afterwards, but we won't record that part of it, but we'll do like a little
and then you
fact
could
check.
Follow up with the listeners because I know they'll be dying to hear.
Yes, they're going to be very interested to know what we decided was truth or fiction on this call.
Right.
Or my version of the truth, of your truth.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're gonna dive into everything.
Okay.
Because we do know each other so well and we've been friends and our relationship has evolved a lot, especially in the last couple of years as real life as women raising children and trying to manage relationships has become even more challenging in our lives. So yes. So you have been my confidant and my friend for a lot of crazy things, the wild roller coaster life that we live.
Yes.
So I'm excited to just talk with you and share your wisdom with everybody because I think you have lots of it and you always give it away for free.
I do, whether you want it or not.
Yes, she is full of unsolicited advice. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys are prepared for a fun conversation because we only have fun conversations.
Yeah. And I mean, if you don't want to hear the truth, I'll still tell you. So
yes, she's ridiculously honest. Okay. So we will briefly go over family and mainly because I do want to give you a major shout out. Congratulations. Alyssa just got married a couple of weeks ago, October 10th.
Yep.
In the beautiful mountains of Wyoming.
Yes.
And it was gorgeous.
Yeah, Schwabacher's Landing, it was called, and not far from Jackson Hole with the Grand Teton Mountains in the background. It was gorgeous. And just Jason and I went out there, got married, and it was perfect.
I thought it looked perfect, but are you guys going to have a party back here? No pressure now that you're on air.
Everybody asks that. No, probably not. Been there, done that.
This is true. This is true. So you can just have me over.
Yeah. Here's what I'm going to do. Every time I'm out with people or want people to come somewhere, I'm going to be like, well, we're celebrating our wedding, so you have to come. And then I'll be like, here's a beer. Tell us congratulations.
This is the party.
This is it.
Super exclusive.
Yes.
Makes everybody feel special.
Yeah. So just every time I see someone, I'm going to be like, this is the celebration.
I love it. So what was your favorite part about the wedding? You did not know I was going to ask this question. So.
My favorite part was that it was no stress at all because it was just the two of us. And you probably don't know this, but I have been in 9 weddings. It's not a fun day.
No.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of stress and a lot of things to take care of. So I loved, it was just us two getting ready, driving out there. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. And then we even had the lady leave that married us. And then we like took all our pictures by ourselves afterwards. And it was super fun.
Well, it was beautiful. You guys had perfect weather. Were you worried that it might be too cold? I was worried it was going to be too cold for you guys.
Well, I was nervous because the 2 weeks before we went, it was 70 or 75 during the day there. And that isn't really typical for weather there right now. It usually is colder. So the first 2 days that we were there, it was gorgeous. But that morning, Jason had looked up the weather and it was really getting windy and just going to get windier as the day went on. So I actually texted her and said, do you think you could come 2 hours earlier? Because it's just going to keep getting windier. So she did. And we got married at like noon instead of 2:30 or something like that.
Nice.
So yeah. And then it wasn't as windy and it was better light. We were definitely wrong about the lighting. I was going to even do it way later and the sun would have been gone.
Yeah.
So.
And you would have been way colder.
Yeah. It worked out perfect.
Yeah. So she's a safety consultant, a wife, and also a mom. We both have 3 kiddos.
Yep, 3 kids. Let's see, Emerson turned 15. Ellie is a middle school 12-year-old girl in 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
All of those things.
And then Max is 6 and he's in 1st grade.
Yeah, so her kids are adorable. And Max is the sassiest 6-year-old on the planet. I mean that with all the love in the world. If you need an answer to something, he probably has it for you.
Oh, he will tell you. Did you see the Snapchat story?
No, I'll have to check it out.
Oh, it's gone now. You missed it. But I'll tell you.
Oh, that's right. Later. Snapchat disappears. I am an expert in only a few social media.
For
techniques.
the listeners, I'll give you an example of things I have to tell his teacher before the school year starts. Max is the youngest of a very blended family. The oldest is 26 years old, and then Max is the youngest, and there are like 5, 6, 7 of them, if you want to count them all. Everybody's older. So he knows things that no other 6-year-old knows. He says things that no other 6-year-old would ever say. So I tell the teachers, you need to keep an eye on him and you need to watch and listen because he's going to tell them other things that they should not know.
This sounds about right. This tracks with all of my experiences with Max.
Yes.
But he's also a very good fisherman.
Yeah, he loves to fish.
Yes.
All the time.
So yeah, it's been fun. Our kids are about the same age. So it's been really interesting to watch our kids like grow up and go through life and all of that kind of stuff. So it's and navigate the teenage years and all of those fun things.
If somebody would have told you that being a parent was this hard, would you have had that many kids? And would you do it over again?
I would have been like, I'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm just going to wing this. No, it's a lot of work. Just for anybody thinking about having kids. I mean, do your research.
Yeah, it's work and it never stops.
Ever.
So yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I love them at all. I'm not going to trade them or give them up, but
sometimes
had I known.
There's sometimes like short lease adoption, I think.
Oh, you can just give them up for a few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think somebody should start doing that. I probably would, but
I'll give you mine for a few weeks.
We could trade.
Oh gosh, you think I could handle it?
I don't know. We could try.
Yeah, I'll take them.
Yeah, we'll just do an experiment and see how it turns out.
I think they'd listen to me.
Oh yeah, they'll listen. They
listen. I'm really firm.
They listen to anybody who's not their parent.
Do they?
Well, mine seem to listen better to non-parental.
I'm just saying good luck with Max.
Oh, yeah. Well, he probably wouldn't listen to me. You're right.
He might, though.
I'll try.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll give it a whirl. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
I think you're getting the better deal. With Karis, anyway.
Yeah, I think we'll be like this.
Yeah, she's pretty easygoing.
Yeah, she'll like me.
Oh, my gosh. Okay,
Okay, what's next? What else do you want to know?
Oh, well, everything. Okay, so I met Alyssa my first week at TRICOR, and we hit it off immediately because we were in this industry, and we were by far the youngest people in the agency at that time, if I remember correctly. And so,
yes,
I think there was some instant friendship going on just because
We were the only people of the same age.
Yes, we were representing the lower 20s at that point.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then I just like, I don't know, I feel like I slowly got to know you, and then it just kind of took off for a lot of different reasons. But what made you decide to go into safety consulting? Because obviously you went to school for it, right?
Yes.
You got your degree. So what's the story leading up to that?
So here's the story. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Okay. I went to college to UW Whitewater because my boyfriend went there. I mean, that's a good reason to go pick a college.
How a lot of people pick them.
So once I got there, I was like, oh, well, I got to pick a major now that I'm here. And I just picked the same major that everybody went there for. And it was management computer systems. I don't know,
I don't know what that is.
Thing about computers or coding or any of that stuff, nor was I ever interested in it ever. So I get to my first class in that major, maybe like the second semester of college. And I was like, yeah, this is not for me. So I changed my major, like, I don't know, a couple times there. And at the end of my sophomore year, I was like, oh, none of these are really working out.
None of these are the right one.
And I was like, I just want to do math. Math was the easiest class for me. And I loved it. It was easy. And you didn't want to work too hard.
It's like the first thing that I'm going to learn. I didn't know you were a math whiz.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know. For some reason, I was just good at it. Like there's always an answer. And I really like that. And there's a formula and like, it's easy. So I decided that I was going to transfer to UW Platteville and be an engineer because engineers have to take a lot of math, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I get to Platteville and I have my first semester of all these engineering classes. And I get in there and I'm like, what have I done? These are not my people. They do not like me. They do not think I'm funny and they don't want to hear me talk. And then what I also realized is that, oh, it's not just math. There's tons of science, like chemistry for engineers. I had to study every day for hours and hours. And you know me, I really, at the end of the day, just like to have fun.
Yeah.
And I'm very social. And that was really cutting into my social life. And so I was in the library studying one day. And there was a guy from my high school in there. And I say, his name's Abe. Abe, what is the easiest major here at Platteville? And he's like, well, Alyssa, I think it's education. And I was like, oh, I cannot be a teacher. I cannot be a teacher. I said, what's the second easiest major here at Platteville? Because now, you know, I'm in it for 3 years. I just really want to get done.
You need to make a decision.
And he goes, well, I believe that's safety. I'm like, safety? What is safety? And he kind of explains it to me. And I remember this is back in the olden days, like barely getting internet anywhere, you know?
Dial up.
Yeah, dial up everywhere. And I went over to the safety building, got one of the brochures, and I read it. And I was like, oh, I think I can do this. So the next semester, I took Intro to Safety and then a bunch of other stuff I still needed to do or whatever, because, you know, I'm only 3 years in now.
Yeah.
And I took Intro to Safety and I loved it. I loved my professor. I loved all the people in my class. It was fun. And it was, you know, kind of easy to learn. It wasn't super hard. And in all of the classes, you got to do presentations on the topic that you learned about safety. And like, I loved putting that together and being able to speak to my class. Like, I loved that part of it. So that is how I became a safety consultant.
Oh my gosh. I had no idea. I never knew your college backstory.
Yeah.
No, see, I'm learning so much already. This is crazy. So then how did you arrive at TRICOR? Because did you work anywhere else before TRICOR?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, besides college jobs, like swimming lessons and stuff like that, I taught. But,
so after swimming lessons.
So this is also a really good story. As a safety major, you had to do an internship to graduate. So I did my internship at the Swiss Colony in Monroe, and my professor from the Department of Safety was like, Alyssa, I want you to come and talk to this group of people about your internship. And he's like, it's the Tri-State Safety Council or group. And a bunch of people, safety people from all the businesses in the tri-state area get together once a month or once a quarter, whatever it was. They have a different speaker, have lunch, whatever. He's like, I really want you to come and tell them all about your internship, like the pros, the cons, and if they're having an intern, like what to do, what not to do, stuff like that. So I'm like, okay. And he's like, and if you want to stay in this area, it's probably one of these people that you would work for, or somebody from one of these companies.
Yeah.
So I get there that day, I do my whole presentation, and I was telling them legit stories that had happened to me in my internship.
Yeah.
Like they also sometimes think that safety is human resources. So they'd come up to me and they'd be like, so-and-so down on the loading dock stinks really bad.
They want you to do something about it.
And I'm like, okay. He was like, you know my personality. I'm like, okay, I'll go talk to him. So like I went down and I talked to this guy and I was like, hey, what kind of laundry soap do you use? And he has no idea what I'm getting at. I'm like, you should double that. Smells good. Use even more. And then like I realized this isn't stuff a safety person should be doing at all.
Shouldn't be part of my job description.
So I was telling them this story and I'm like, so don't have your safety intern do human resource type stuff.
Yeah. Leave that to the experts.
What ended up happening is my boss now, Tom Osterholtz, was there at that meeting and he said, I'm going to hire her.
This sounds like Tom.
Yep. And so a few weeks later, I get a call from him. They have me come interview. And in my interview, I answered 2 questions.
Correctly.
That was about it. And here I am 17 years later. I've been there for 17 years now.
Oh my gosh. It's just crazy.
Yeah. So that's how I got my job.
Well, I mean, you were being a human, which is good. I like your approach to the odor issue as well. So hopefully,
just double that.
Yeah. So hopefully people are taking some notes on how to approach that situation in their workplaces if it's happening. But yeah, so that's so funny. Like it's weird that we worked together that long and I didn't know how you arrived there. I thought we both like magic fairies carried us in or something. And
yeah, no, mine was real strategic.
Yeah. Tom with his magic wand.
Yeah. I'm gonna hire her.
So what is it that you love about safety consulting? Because you could have probably gone and done this anywhere, right? You could have stayed on the agency side. You can go and work directly in a factory or some sort of setting, any place that needs one.
Yeah, you could go. Well, and you can go work for a carrier too. Yeah. You could do loss control that way. So the reason that I like the agency side the best is because we're kind of truly the middleman.
Yeah.
And we are only there when the employer wants us or because they want us. Where, when the carrier loss control people go in, like they're there because they have to be.
Right.
And it's part of the whole protocol to get that insurance. But we're there because maybe they did have a really bad accident and they just want extra help with their investigation and making sure it doesn't happen again. Or we're there because their mod is really high and they really want us to come in and help lower it. And then the other reason why I really love working on the agency side is that I get to work with a whole bunch of different people. I get to work with manufacturers, hospitals, nursing homes, construction, roofing, all kinds. And then you get to meet different people, different types of employees. I love that part of it.
Yeah. Do you have like a good story from your work that like, I know there's all sorts of good stories in your line of work, but is there one that just like jumps out that you're like, this was lessons learned and entertaining?
Well, okay. So my first, week or 2 on the job, Tom is taking me around to all of the different clients that he goes to. And we go to this big, huge kosher meat packing plant. Have you heard this story?
No, but I'm familiar with where you're at.
Okay. So we go there and he's like, so they don't really recognize women there. So he's like, just look at me and I'll tell you if you can talk to that person or not. So I'm like, what? Like, I've never heard of anything like this in my life. And for me to not talk, I mean, come on. So anyway, so I'm kind of nervous as we're walking around. We're just doing like a mock OSHA inspection, looking for violations and things like that. And one of the supervisor guys comes over and he's like talking up a storm to me. And I'm like, I don't know if I can talk or not talk, or so like I'm just standing there. And then he offers me a piece of gum. And I was like, I don't know if I can take this gum or not. So I end up taking the gum and we get out of the plant and Tom's like, you realize what happened there, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, no. He's like, he just bought you.
Note to self, never accept gum from a stranger.
So that's probably one of my favorite stories. Lots of success stories in helping people reduce accidents and lower their mods, save money, make people safer. But yeah, and then the other reason I guess that I really truly love it is at the end of the day, I know I got to help people. Even if only one person listened to one thing I said that day, I could have saved a life or saved an arm or a finger or an eye.
Yeah, we're talking about small things here, guys, that everybody wants to keep.
Yeah, you know, like your brain.
Yeah, I want to keep
like that.
I want to keep all of my digits if I can.
Yeah,
and definitely my.
I mean, you don't need them all, but it's nice.
It's super convenient to have them all.
Yeah. So that's that.
I love it. Okay, so when you've lived a life that now I get to learn from. I don't want to say your mistakes. I'm the benefactor of the lessons that you've learned along the way.
Yes.
Which I feel very lucky. And here's something that I think people need to understand. It's just crazy when I think about like what I believed about friendship before and how it's evolved and how much I've learned from you about friendship. Like there's no judgment. Like you give me advice. I don't take it. You don't yell at me for it. You don't judge me for it. You don't not talk to me anymore. You just go, you do say I told you so.
Well, I have to.
Yeah.
It makes me feel smart.
Yeah. So there is a few I told you so's. But I
really wait till the timing's right.
Right.
Like not when it's devastating.
Yes.
I wait till later when we're kind of laughing about it.
Yes.
I told you.
Yeah. Yeah. So she does not pour salt on the wound, which is definitely, there's a little bit of an art form to being able to read the situation and know when it is the right time to be like, I did try and warn you. And I think it's fair to like bring that back up. Whereas like there was a part of me that'd be like, I'm never going to bring it up again. I'm not going to say that I tried to warn you, like, but you're always, and I think but it's never done from a standpoint of like, I just want you to know that I told you. It's more of like, I just want you to make sure you remember this moment so you don't repeat this in the future. So it's all about like not like creating the same wounds going forward is kind of what I get from those conversations. So even if it seems like I'm not listening to you, I really am listening to you.
Well, and I feel like when you really know someone and you're giving them advice, like I'll say to you, this is what you should do, but I know you're not going to do it and you're going to do this.
Yeah.
So when you're done doing that, let me know how that worked out.
Yeah. And then I'll repeat my advice so you can go back and do what you actually need to do. But I know that you've had a lot of different influences in your life, some of them great, some of them not so great. Tom obviously comes to mind. I mean, he's important to me. I can't even imagine like the level of importance that he holds in your life. But as you look at all of these different experiences that you've had, either at work or in your personal life, like what's one of the biggest lessons that you've learned along the way?
Okay, this is a hard one because there's a lot of them.
Yeah. But if you could pass a piece of advice along to everybody, as far as like a lesson learned,
I'll kind of mold it together.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing, if I really dig back way into everything, don't ever settle for anything. Do not settle in your personal life. Do not settle in your friendships, and do not settle at your job. Like if you are not 100% into that relationship or into that person and you're just doing it because that's what I gotta talk with my hands, because that's what everybody else is doing, then you're not being true to yourself, and you need to be true to yourself. And even, if you're not happy in your job, you don't like your manager, there are a million jobs, there are a million different managers. Don't settle for that. Be true to yourself and do what makes you happy. So with all that being said, then obviously mistakes have been made.
We've all made them.
And I think the biggest lesson is that don't ever think of your mistake as a mistake. What you learned from that mistake is the greatest gift ever. You learn from that, make it positive, and grow.
Yeah.
And, be responsible, be accountable to yourself. And one of the biggest things I've had to learn is it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to not be the best. It's okay.
Yeah.
Just take what you learn from that and grow, be better, do better,
Yeah. So Alyssa and I had this conversation last week where I was like, well, this, I don't deserve this. And I was just totally I don't know. I'm typically a pretty optimistic person, but I was like, I don't know, this just, something feels off here and I've made mistakes. And she was like, so what?
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a second. She's like, no, so what? You've acknowledged your mistake. Can we move on? I'm like, I guess. I kind of want to feel sorry for myself a little bit longer though.
But, for all the listeners out there, it takes a really long time to get there and learn this. Could you imagine where we would be if we'd known this stuff in our 20s?
Oh, I know. I know.
Just,
you have to learn it by living though.
Yes. That's why I think everyone should listen to me.
They should. She has so much advice to give. And do you give advice to yourself? Do you talk yourself through things?
Yeah,
because you're always very good about doing it for other people. So
I always struggle. I care a lot about what other people think. And I try really hard to stop doing that and making up stories about what things I think mean in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can go down a really deep hole if you think that way.
Yeah.
So I have to remind myself, this doesn't actually matter. It doesn't matter what they think anyway. Just do the best you can do. Be who you are. Be true to yourself, to your family, your goals, your morals, all of that. And stop worrying about that stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
it's easier said than done.
It is. Well, and I think it's you really have to step, for me, I have to step outside of the situation. I can't do it when I'm in the middle of it. I'm just blind and lost and I just can't figure it out. And even when you tell me things, I think sometimes I come to you in the heat of it and I actually just can't even process it. And then later, once I've calmed down, then I can kind of work my way through the situation a lot more objectively. When I'm in the middle of it, I'm just
it's you just can't focus on anything else except for what is driving that at that moment. You can't see the other side of it yet.
Yeah. Yeah. So Alyssa will get you to the other side. I promise.
Pretty soon I'll have therapists after safety consultant.
Yes. HR, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
It all goes together.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. So, I can guess in terms of the people that have had a big impact on you, but who would you say has influenced your life and how have they played a role in who you are now?
Well, you obviously guessed it, right?
Yeah.
Tom, my boss, one of just the kindest human beings you'll ever meet. We have very similar personalities, but I just love his outlook on life. One of the most positive people. He's always going to make you smile. He's always going to make you laugh. And I have just never had someone in my life. How do I want to explain it?
He shows up.
Yeah, he shows up. He cares about me. I truly believe he loves me like a daughter. He takes care of me. He's always believed in me.
Yeah.
And always known I could do a great job. I would do a great job. Takes every opportunity to teach me in every part of life, work, personal, all of it. And truly is like a dad to me.
Yeah.
I could not have asked for a more amazing person in my life, a better boss, a better human being ever.
Yeah. And I think it says a lot. I mean, for one, I do think he's one of the most pure human beings on the face of this planet. Like he just, I've never met anybody quite like him. Like you never have to worry about if there's an ulterior motive or if there's something else that he's trying to get at. Like he's very straightforward, but he's always super compassionate. Even if he's like giving you bad news.
Yes.
Like you're like, this bad news doesn't taste so bad because Tom's delivering it in the most, gentle way possible. And he always has had this really just, I don't know. He has like this different energy. Like he's very calming.
Yes.
And he's hilarious.
Yeah. And so like, I think you just immediately trust him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And always has good intentions for everyone. Like he just really is the best.
Yeah. So people may work for companies, but more importantly, they work for bosses. And like Tom is like the epitome of like how that really works and brings people in and then they stay for 17 years. Like that's a huge deal.
Yeah. Especially people of my age usually have had 5, 6, 10 different jobs by the time they're 40 years old, Yeah.
Yeah. But Tom's a rock star and he thinks he's retiring. I don't know. Alyssa, are you going to allow it?
Since the day I started, he's said 3 more years, done 3 years, 3 more years, 3 more years. So he is supposed to officially retire from safety consulting at the end of this year. So he's not going to do safety anymore, but he's going to come back and maybe do some work comp claims for a couple days a week.
And then he'll go hit golf balls.
But like he is the guy that you want him in your office. Yeah. You want him around your people. So I believe that TRICOR is thinking, whatever he wants to do, let him come because he's amazing.
Yeah, he is. He is one of those. I just remember meeting him and immediately like, if you're new in a job, there is really nothing better than having somebody just immediately take the intimidation out of the air. And he does it. He does it for everybody.
Yep.
He's a safety consultant. He makes everybody feel safe.
Yeah. And he'll do it by making fun of himself, making everyone laugh. And then everybody just feels comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. So maybe he'll write a book. Could be.
I'll ask him.
Yeah. Tell him I'd like him to write a book on. Yeah, I don't know. He seems to like, but I think it's probably hard to explain. It just comes so naturally to him. Like there's no other thing that he would even consider doing, I don't think.
No. Well, originally he came to TRICOR. He was going to sell insurance. And then Dave was like, I think you should try the safety thing. Let's give that a go. And then he did. He made it go because he makes things happen.
He does.
Yeah.
Oh, he's such a good guy.
He is.
So if you could go back and give your younger self, which you've already kind of alluded to, the fact that we needed to know more in our 20s, but what piece of advice would you give yourself at, say, age 25?
Oh, age 25.
I don't remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday, so I don't know how I expect you to remember.
I would go back even further.
Okay.
And the reason I would say this is because, I was just saying Ellie is in middle school. She's in 7th grade. Yeah. So I see my 7th grade self. And like, here's what I would have said to my 7th grade self. Stop caring about what other people think. It does not matter. And just be yourself. Be a leader. Stop following. And like, I just see like, she can't do anything her other 3 friends do. She couldn't be a Halloween costume by herself. She had to have something with the group of people. And I'm like, who cares what those girls want to do? And they're all fantastic girls and everything is fine that way. But I'm like, pick something you want to be for Halloween, go make it and do that.
Yeah.
And who cares that everybody else plays softball? You don't have to play softball because they all play softball. You should do golf, like, because you're better at it.
Yeah.
But like, you can't get them to, the saying, like, you can't see past Friday night. It just can't. But I wish when I was younger, I could have just been a little more open.
it's so hard because I mean, like boys go through it. I don't know if it's on the same level because I don't have a preteen girl yet, but like I've watched Taylor do this and explain to him, like, if you can't stand up to this friend when they're asking you to do something that you know is wrong and maybe you're not doing the thing, but you're there and you're not willing to say anything, like you're just not ready to be friends with this person yet. And like, and it's a hard thing to say to a kid because they immediately start to go like, well, then no, like I won't be at this thing. And then people ask me why I'm not at that thing. And then it just like spirals out of control really quickly. But it's like this whole, and you carry it into adulthood, this whole idea of like finding your identity and acceptance of others. Like it's a super dangerous place to land.
Yeah. So like what a therapist would say, well, what I think they would say is, and it takes a long time to see this, but, and you can use this in all friendships, in jobs, in relationships, but why do you want to be friends with someone that doesn't want to be friends with you?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want to work for someone that might not want you to work for them?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want to be a significant other to someone who maybe doesn't want to be with you? Like, just think about it that way. Who cares? There are a million other friends out there, a million other jobs, a million other things. So just don't want to be friends with people that don't want to be friends with you.
Yeah. I mean,
because I feel like that's kind of what you're getting at. Like you might do something you normally wouldn't do in that situation with those people just to impress them, or so they will include you in their group. No, if they don't want you for who you are, there are people that will. Like you will find your people.
Yeah.
So don't settle.
Yeah, don't settle. Well, and I think like if you can't, and I do wish like Taylor, if I looked at Taylor, he would actually understand me when I say this to him. Like, I really want you to be autonomous. I want you to like know who you are in the absence of everybody else, because like, well, we're going to dive into this a little bit. So like, oh God, I'm resistant, but also I think it's important. So 2020 was obvious. Like this is like the craziest year for everybody. Like everybody's trying to navigate life in so many different weird ways. But I also went through a separation this year. And so you told me this, my friend Sid told me this as well. Like you have to be able to sit with yourself at the end of the day, because there's not going to be anybody else around sometimes. And that was a much bigger struggle than I thought it was going to be. It's gotten better, but there are still times I call you and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Like, what should I do? Like, I don't know what to do with myself. Like, I have no idea who I am. And so, you know, I just feel like if you never figure out who you are, then the fallout from something like that only gets bigger as you get older. And regardless of whether you stay married for 40 years or it doesn't work out that way, you still like having that confidence of knowing who you are, knowing you evolve and you change and things like that, but always just like being able to come back to yourself is like, it's
like you're
hard.
Really core.
Yeah. And then when you have to be alone for days on end and you're like, I don't know who I am at my core, like that's a scary place to be. Yeah. And you do. And I think that when you go through a traumatic event, and I've had a couple of them, but the divorce being the most recent, you really have to re-identify who you are. Did you feel like that when you went through yours?
Yeah. And I think how I explained it to you is every single thing in your life changes. And like when it's happening, you don't even realize that it's going to happen. Like you won't have the same friends anymore. You will have friends that you thought were your best friends that judge you and do not talk to you anymore. You won't go to certain things or do certain things anymore because it's just too hard, or it was a part of that life and it's not a part of this life anymore. And you do have to prepare for that and be ready and like be okay with yourself to go find new things. Mm-hmm. Like somebody told me, and people give this advice to people that are separating or getting divorced all the time, like, oh, you'll be okay. You'll find a new normal. And I remember one of my old coworkers said that to me, and I was like, that is the biggest load of crap I've ever heard in my entire life. I do not believe you. And like my biggest thing was, how could I ever feel normal again if I don't see my kids every single day? Mm-hmm. Like it just can't be normal. But you want to know what? She was right. And it just takes a long time. And you do find a new normal, and you do end up okay, and you do get through it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do remember having more of these moments more often now where I'm just like, I'm okay. I'm going to be even better. Like, so things will continue to improve and I'll figure out different aspects of life and who I am. But like accepting the flow of the process, like I am very like process resistant. I mean, I love process, but also like I like to watch other people go through process. You process life. Mine is just I'm gonna hop and skip over the whole process and just get to the finish line. And so it is when life really happens, you realize that you don't get to leapfrog. There are certain things in life that you get to leapfrog. Like I'll give the example of like, you know, like you hit every green light going down. Highway 20. That's our big. That's where all the stoplights are. Yeah.
In Iowa. That's in Iowa.
Yep, that's in Iowa. It's a big road, guys. There are 2 lanes in each direction for a total of 4 lanes. And people turning everywhere and mayhem and semi-accidents and all sorts of crazy stuff. But like you hit every green light going down there and you're just like, yes, like you're winning. But you don't get to do that with like any other major occurrence in your life. Like it just doesn't work that way. And I'm like, oh, am I going to hit a green light here? And I just want to keep cruising on through it, but you don't. You have to like go through all of the motions and the feelings. Otherwise, I think you're shortchanging yourself on the benefits of having had that experience.
Yes, I would agree. You have to go through it all for it to all work.
Yeah.
And like process all those feelings and everything through all of that. Otherwise, it just takes longer and you deal with it on the back end.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like you ruined your next relationship. Because you didn't figure it out before.
No. Nobody would ever do that.
No, and I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the millions of people out there.
Everybody else.
Lots of people.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, so that was good. So, but yeah, so I think like just even being able to, I would say anybody that's going through like these major life events, and it can be all sorts of different things. And typically like, especially this year, I feel like people are going through multiple major life events. Like it's not just one thing. It's good to have that person that will just be like the super honest sounding board. And like nothing that you've ever said to me has been like, it never comes to me in a way that's like, it's never to be hurtful or make a point. It's just like, I hear you, I understand, and this is what I would do. And then, you know, like I maybe complain a little bit longer and then, you know, and then I hang up. But it's just like, you do have to have some sort of support system. You're never going to get through big things in life on your own. Like we're not islands.
Right. You absolutely need someone who supports you no matter what, loves you no matter what. Like you get to make a million mistakes and they're always going to be there for you. So like in my case, it was Tom in all aspects of life. He's always there, always supportive. Like it doesn't matter how big a mistake I make, he supports me.
Yeah.
And I want to return that favor in turn. Like learning that from him has made me such a better person. So, you know, I'm not ever going to turn my back on my friends when they come to me and make the same mistake 18 times in a row. Like I'm still going to be there for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I was just going to say that it's the best part is when you can be that person for somebody else, when you're strong enough.
Yeah.
Like 5 years ago, maybe not. I don't know. I don't want to say, but I think like the timing really synced up in terms of like where you were in your life and where I was in my life. And just some of the brutal honesty and all of that kind of stuff. But like, I do go back and I replay those conversations in my head and I'm like, oh, thank God. Like even if I couldn't hear it at the time, by the time I'm ready to really process it, it's super meaningful in that moment. And so I never assume that anything that you're saying, even though I'm like it does.
I know you're right.
It does. Like I figure out where it fits into the puzzle later on. It doesn't necessarily make sense in the moment. And so I think like this whole idea of like I'm not a patient person. Are you a patient person?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
So like this whole idea of being patient through hard stuff, because I don't think we live it, like we're an instant gratification society.
Yes.
And you have to be like super slow and patient through this stuff. Like nothing really good and beneficial comes in a hurry. I truly believe that. Like, I'm sorry guys, fast food is not good for you.
She's not lying.
Yeah, applies to your food and to your life. So just.
Yeah. And all good things come with work.
Yes.
Like you have to work at it constantly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, oh my gosh, this has been like the most revealing interview that I think that I've had. So, what does the future hold for you?
Well, I think I should probably give a shout out to my new husband. I do really like him.
I like him too, but I think she likes him more.
Yeah. He is also one of those super supportive people, like obviously loves me unconditionally and is one of those positive people. Like he just takes every situation, like no matter what I'm complaining about, and is like, well, who cares? Let's do this. Like make it better, change it, make it positive. And he's so positive and full of great ideas and stuff like that. So I guess for the future, I am excited to do new things with him. Hopefully business wise together, we'll build something together, do something like that. And then work wise, I guess, if Tom does retire ever for real, then, maybe I will be able to lead our team and do great things that way.
Yeah. So thank you for that segue, Alyssa. That was perfect. How do we you've been enough, you see all industries, but you also get an up close and personal look at the insurance industry, obviously still very heavily male dominated in all facets of leadership. How do we just like change that conversation? How do we get more women to kind of like, I think it's like represent themselves differently and maybe take that first step forward out of like the space that they've been staying safe in?
Oh, gosh, that's a hard question.
I think you should give the piece of it. We talked about this earlier. I don't want to hand you the answer, but you did say something that I thought was super profound.
Okay. I'll say it for the listeners because I want you guys to all be as well versed and educated as myself. So I said to Olivia, the person that cares less holds the power. And in this specific situation that we're talking about, I said, I actually love the job that I do now, and I don't have any complaints about it. I can do it for a really long time. And I also think I can do the other job, but if they don't give it to me, I'm still going to do the job that I do and do it well, because it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I'm okay with what I do. So I'm not going to be, hurt by it, or I don't know. What else did I say about it?
I don't remember specifically. I just thought it was really good. So I think you're you shoot your shot, you take your chance, but also know like at the end of the day, you're going to be okay.
So I guess my advice to women out there is do take the chance. Like if you want to do something different, if you want to be a leader or a manager or move up in any situation that you might be in, take that chance, but don't care if you don't get it. At least you tried. Like, don't be offended. Don't think, oh, they didn't choose me, so now I have to quit, or they didn't choose me, so that means I'm not good, because it doesn't mean that at all.
Right.
Just at that time, it didn't work out. And I think that is just a really important lesson for all parts of life. Like if you're not chosen to do something, it doesn't mean you're still not fantastic.
Right.
Yeah. So that's my advice.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. So what are your passions outside of work? What do you like?
Okay. So
Badger games?
I do like Badger games, but really, so people ask this question all the time, you know, when you're small talk,
Oh, yeah.
networking, like,
Yeah.
oh, what are your hobbies? I'm like, well, I don't really have any hobbies.
I don't either.
just like to have fun. So I'm up for anything that sounds like a good idea.
This is true.
Like, I just really like to have a good time. So I do like to travel. I like to golf. I like to go to wineries and breweries and stuff like that.
Make pizza.
Make pizzas. Yeah. Yeah.
I think these are all good things. I don't do any of those things. I make pizza, but I don't travel or play golf.
You like to exercise.
I do need to find some other hobbies. For sure. I told somebody I was going to take up crocheting again. I'm not.
No.
If somebody wants that.
I mean, if it makes you happy, I guess.
It doesn't. I just finish half a scarf and then I'm like, this is somebody else can finish this. So if somebody wants my half finished crochet projects, I could probably ship them to you. There's probably.
You should take them to like the nursing home or something. See if they can finish
them. Oh my gosh. All right. Okay. Are you ready for the secret question?
Okay.
My gosh, can you believe
how did I do so far?
This is amazing. How have I been?
Are people going to be like, oh, those two can't stop laughing?
Probably.
They're going to be like, are they drunk?
We are.
And we are not.
We are sober on a Friday morning. Completely sober.
Okay. Secret question.
Secret question. If you got to play DJ for 5 minutes and you get to play any song you want, everybody has to listen to it. What are you going to play?
Oh, it's definitely going to be some country. Well, I mean, in any situation, I'm anywhere.
We're just going to assume it's like a happy situation that people, well, I mean, you could pick a sad song too, but. You go to so many, you used to go to so many concerts when we could still go to concerts.
I'm just trying to think.
Are you trying to choose?
Yeah. Like, cause there's like a lot of songs like if I were with my sister, Teresa, we would play Genie in a Bottle. If I was with my friend Chelsea from college, we would play Ghetto Superstar.
Wow, these are totally random.
Or like if I was with my friend Heather from high school, we would play that Dina Carter song. Oh, I can't.
Strawberry Wine?
No.
Oh, that's the only one I can think of.
Danced Anyway.
Oh.
Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, I love Lanco, Greatest Love Story.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that one.
I know I'm going to have to listen to it.
Oh, yeah. You should, for sure.
Well, I'm supposed to be making a playlist, but I've been super slacking on it. But I will. Because I ask every guest this question, so I have a list of songs now. And I'm super lazy about it. But I always say like, oh, this will be a good weekend project. And then I don't do it.
But, sometimes like in the morning, if I'm driving somewhere and I'm really tired, then I'll like put on Nickelback's Greatest Hits.
Really?
So, yeah. I have a lot of favorites.
What have I been listening to? What was my new find? Ooh, mine was like, actually, I did a Peloton workout a couple of weeks ago and there was a song that was played on there. And now I can't stop listening to it, but it's like, it's definitely club music, but it's Heaven by, I think it's Avicii. I don't know. I kind of think the DJ is not even alive anymore, but anyway.
So it's old?
No, like, these DJs kind of just do some, I don't know what happened to him. I shouldn't say. But yeah, so that and Trust My Lonely by Alyssa Hrubes. Those are the two ones that I've been playing. The two songs I've been playing a lot, but yeah. So. Yeah,
I think it just depends on
the mood.
Yeah. Yeah. What one I'm going to play.
What's your ultimate dance song though? Like,
man,
you don't have to say. You don't have to share that one if it's
I don't know. I really like old like 90s stuff too.
Like NSYNC.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. We won't make her answer that question. I feel like there's nothing.
Well, I don't know. It's just not coming to me.
No,
There's just so many favorites, and I do get really mad if they can't play the song that I want.
yeah. I've I've been at weddings with people like you.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
You don't have that?
But there is always music on in your house.
Yeah.
There's always music going. So yeah. So I think I assume that there's kitchen dancing going on at your house too. I don't know why we don't do that. Why do we just sit down and drink?
Well, I didn't know you wanted to dance. I guess we'll dance next time.
We're gonna dance next time for sure. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, this has been fun. Did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun.
Did you feel nervous?
I wasn't nervous at all.
Yes.
Not even a
Yes.
tiny bit.
I was nervous the whole time. My hands are sweating.
Really?
I always get nervous. Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's good to be nervous sometimes because it makes you prepare more and, do better. But then sometimes when I'm really nervous, I forget everything I've ever wanted to say.
Well, you did a great job. And I'm so thankful. And I'm excited that we got to do this in person. This has been fun. I don't know. I think people probably are if you watch the video, probably just going to see the side of my head, but you'll see Alyssa's beautiful face the whole time.
No, because I wasn't looking like this. I was looking at you. So they're just going to see this. I hope it was a good angle.
I think we look great. My head looks twice as big as yours, but I think we look great.
I don't think it looks big. I think it's fine.
Okay, good.
So anyway, to the listeners, make sure you watch the video. It's fantastic.
Yeah, super entertaining. But I love you.
I love you too.
And I'm so glad that we got to do this.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yes, anytime.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
Okay.
Well, we're going to say toodaloos.
Bye.
Bye.